Have you ever had a moment that made you stop and whisper, "That can't just be a coincidence"? The right person called at just the right time. A door closed and, another opened almost immediately. A verse, sermon, or post spoke directly to what you were silently battling. You thought you were alone. Then life answered you in a way you didn't expect. Those moments are often sacred synchronicities, gentle ways God weaves guidance, protection, and reassurance into our ordinary days. We call them coincidence because they arrive quietly. Heaven calls them providence. We don't live in a random story. It's easy, really, to feel like life is chaotic and disconnected, that things simply happen. But Scripture paints a different picture. God is deeply involved in the intimate details of our lives. He orders steps, opens paths, and sometimes even blocks the ones that would harm us. Even when life feels unpredictable, you are not moving through it unattended. God can speak through timing, conversations, unexpected delays, repeated themes or messages, inner nudges and convictions, and opportunities that appear at the perfect moment. These are not tricks of chance. They are reminders. I see you. I'm guiding you. Keep walking. Coincidence often appears like alignment. Have you ever prayed silently and then heard a sermon that answered it, or wrestled with a question and then read a verse that felt written for your situation? That's alignment, your need meeting God's timing. Sacred synchronicity happens when your desire for direction meets God's whisper, your confusion meets divine clarity, and your loneliness meets unexpected support. We say, "What are the odds?" God says, "I was already there." God often guides without loud announcements. We expect burning bushes and parting seas, but God often works through subtler means, chance encounters, delays that kept you safe, rejection that redirected your path, intuition that said something isn't right, and the job you didn't get that led you to what you truly needed. Not every closed door is punishment. Many are protection. Sometimes the most spiritual thing in your life is something that didn't happen. The relationship that didn't work, the deal that fell through, the plan that collapsed so a better one could be built. Sometimes people just don't notice sacred synchronicity. God is always moving, but not everyone sees it. It's not because he isn't speaking, but honestly because we're often too hurried, distracted, or even a bit cynical to pay attention. We miss signs when we rush through life without reflection, numb ourselves with noise and scrolling, assume everything is just a coincidence, or expect God to speak only in dramatic ways. Awareness, though, is a spiritual posture. The more you slow down and listen, the more you begin to notice patterns, nudges, and threads of purpose woven through your days. Sacred synchronicity grows from relationship, not superstition. This isn't about reading meaning into everything or, forcing signs out of nothing. It's not fortune-telling or obsession over signals. It's about relationship, walking closely enough with God that you recognize his tone and timing. Jesus said, "His sheep know his voice." Sacred synchronicity is often simply that knowing. This was for me. It is less about prediction and more about perception, less about control and more about trust. When God's hand feels confusing, not comforting, let's be honest, sometimes what happens doesn't feel like guidance, it feels like loss. Not all synchronicity feels sweet or simple. Sometimes God's leading sends us through discomfort, pruning, and uncertainty. In those seasons, the question is not, "Is God here?" The question is, can I trust him when I don't yet see the purpose? Later, when the picture becomes clearer, we often say, "Now I understand why that had to end. If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here. God was protecting me and I didn't know it." What once hurt becomes something holy in hindsight. How to recognize God's hand more clearly. You don't have to force this. Just open your awareness. Try these gentle practices. First, pay attention to repetition. When the same message, verse, phrase, or idea keeps showing up, pause and listen. Second, slow down before reacting. Not everything requires an instant response. Some things require discernment. Third, ask God directly. Lord, is this from you? Give me peace or unease, but don't let me walk blind. Fourth, keep a God moments journal. Write down moments that feel guided. Patterns will start to appear. Fifth, trust peace more than pressure. God's leading often carries peace, even when the path is challenging. A final reminder for your heart. Your life is not a string of random events. You are not forgotten in the universe. You are not wandering unseen. God has been threading meaning through your story long before you noticed, through people, redirection, closed doors, surprising turns, and quiet reassurances that arrived right when your heart needed them. So the next time something lines up too perfectly, or a message seems written just for you, or help arrives in the moment you whisper a prayer, don't dismiss it. Maybe it's not just a coincidence. Maybe it's love moving towards you on purpose.